Most founders don't realize they are the biggest risk in their own company. Your business looks solid, revenue is good, margins make sense, your team is solid, but here's what a buyer sees when they look at you. They see you. If you're running a $2 to $10 million business right now, and you're the one everyone calls when something breaks, you already know this. You know your business is worth less than it should be. 67% of buyers walk away before they even look at your financials. By the end of this, you're going to know exactly what 5 systems separate founder dependent from founder free. More importantly, you're going to know you can build them in 30 days. That's what changes your exit value. That's what changes everything. I'm Alex Hayes. I work with founder-led businesses between $2 and $10 million to help them build operations that run without them. I've been a merchant sailor. I run a business. I'm raising 5 kids. I know what it feels like when the business depends on you showing up every single day. Here's what I'm seeing now. Founders are hitting milestones. Revenue is up, margins are holding, team is solid, but structurally, the business is dependent on one person, you. And that dependency is costing you millions at the exit. I'm going to walk you through 5 operational foundations. These separate founder dependent from founder free. These are the systems that let a 10 million EBITDA business get valued at 7x instead of just 3. These are what a fractional COO actually builds in the first 30 days. If this is your world, subscribe. I do this every week. Let me start with what founder dependency actually costs you. Founder dependent businesses sell for 30 to 50% less than comparable independent businesses. Now, and 67% of potential buyers walk away before they even look at your financials. Let me put this in real numbers. You have $10 million EBITDA business. If it's founder dependent, that's 3x multiple at exit, $30 million. If it's not dependent on you, that same business gets 7x, $70 million. That's a $40 million difference left on the table. And if it shows up everywhere, slower growth because your team can't move without you, higher turnover because good people want autonomy, thinner margins because nothing gets done efficiently without you, micromanaging, a business is worth less than half of what it should be at exit. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about being a bad leader. This is about what happens when a business outgrows the early stage structure that actually created it. The structure that worked for 5 people doesn't work at 30. The knowledge that lived in your head needs to live in a system instead. The gap between a 3x and a 7x isn't revenue. It's operational independence. First foundation, standard operating procedures. Everybody's heard these before, but your processes need to live on paper, not in your head. On paper. You know how to close a client. You know how to onboard them. You know how to deliver. But all that knowledge lives in your head. When a new hire joins, where do they learn? They shadow you, of course, right? They ask questions, they get frustrated because the way you do it in your head isn't the way you're explaining it. And when your best person leaves suddenly, nobody else knows how to do what she was doing or he was doing the way he or she was doing it. Here's what an SOP actually is. It's the documented version of how something gets done in your business. Not how it should get done in a perfect world, how it actually gets done. Not 100% quality, 80%. That's good enough. That's transferable. Start with your top 3 revenue processes. Document them. Assign them to someone. Watch that person execute. Update based on what they actually discover. That's your starting point. When your ops manager can handle 80% of onboarding without you, you get 40 hours back. That changes what you can do. Second foundation, role clarity and decision rights. Your business has job titles. Everybody loves a good title, right? But nobody has any real decision authority. So in practical terms, your org chart looks very flat. Think about your ops manager on paper. He or she owns operations, but can he or she hire a contractor without asking you? Can your sales lead offer a discount without your approval? Can anyone make $5,000 decision without calling you first? Most founder teams have the org chart, right? Nobody has the authority. So they escalate. Safe choice. They play it safe because they don't know. You've created a system where you're the default escalation point for everything. Role clarity and decision rights fixes this. Write it down. Your ops manager owns onboarding. She can make any decision about onboarding that costs under $10,000. Decisions above that come to me, right? That sounds clear. That sounds very specific. And it's also empowering. When you do this, something strange starts to happen. Your people start making decisions. Now, they won't make perfect decisions, but they start to make better decisions because they're made closer to the ground. Your interrupt load drops. That's role clarity. You've changed the organizational physics of your entire company. Third foundation, communication rhythm. Without structured cadence, information flows through you, right? You are the hub. You are the bottleneck. Someone needs to know what's happening in operations. They ask you. Someone needs to know if sales are on track. Who do you think they're going to call? They're going to ask you. Someone needs to know what marketing is building right now. Guess what? They're asking you. And you're not leading. You're actually drowning. A communication rhythm is a structured schedule of meetings that replaces you as the information hub. Here's what works. A daily stand-up meeting, 15 minutes, 9 a.m. One sentence update from each person, in and out. Boom, done. Then a weekly leadership huddle, right? Leadership teams, 60 minutes. 60 minutes, you are direct reports, review last week's results, you flag problems, plan for next week. Done. A monthly strategic review, 90 minutes, full team, financial results, wins, directions, right? That's 3 meetings. In that rhythm, everyone knows what's happening, problems surface earlier, and decisions get made faster. You're not in 40 random conversations a day. Businesses where you're the bottleneck, 10, 15 hours a week in random check-ins, right? Hey, got a second for a quick call? Business rhythm, 1, maybe 2 hours. Fourth foundation, a KPI dashboard. Your team can't self-correct if they don't know how the business is doing. You know your revenue numbers, right? You know your margin. You know if payroll clears. Does your team know of those things? Or does all that information about how the business is performing live exclusively in your head? When you're the only person who knows if the business is on track, your team can't self-correct. When the boss says we're not on pace, it comes as a surprise out of nowhere instead of information they already had. Now, a KPI dashboard is simple. 5 to 8 leading indicators, not 50, not everything. They don't need to know everything in the business, just the 5 to 8 real metrics that matter to the whole team. And it's updated weekly or monthly, right? So visible to the whole team is key. For a software business, maybe it's MRR, churn rate, CAC, new contracts, right? For service-based businesses, maybe it's revenue month to date, billable utilization, pipeline, cash position. Whatever your 5 to 8 are, they get posted. Everyone sees them. Everyone knows if you're on track, right? When a team owns the metrics can actually get better. The dashboard isn't a report. It's shared accountability. That's how you need to look at it, which leads us to the 5th foundation, an accountability system. Now, this ties everything together. SOPs without accountability are just shelf documents that make you feel good without any progress. Roles without accountability are just organizational charts that live up in the ether, right? You need a system that makes the other 4 actually work. What does accountability look like? 3 things. Clear ownership. You've defined who owns the process, who owns the outcome. No ambiguity. Regular review. You have a cadence, weekly or monthly, where people report on their commitments, explain what got done, explain what didn't. And then 3, real consequences. When I say I'll do X, it means something because there's a system tracking whether it gets done. This isn't about punishment. It's about creating a culture where commitments mean something, where people can't just disappear into the crowd and hope nobody notices. That review cadence usually lives in your weekly leadership huddle, right? What did we commit to last week? What got done? What didn't? Why? What roadblocks did you have? That conversation repeated every week changes behavior. And over time, you stopped chasing them. Over time, your team stops overpromising. Over time, the business runs on commitments instead of your attention. These 5 systems working together, that's the difference between a business that depends on you and a business that doesn't. Here's the part that changes everything. You don't need a year to build these 5 foundations. You need 30 days, a focused operator can get the first version of all 5 built and running in 30 days. Not polished, not perfect, functional. Week 1, map your top 5 processes. Assign an owner to each. Start documenting the first one. Week 2, draft a decision rights document. Who owns what? Who decides what? Without asking. Get feedback from leadership. Week 3, build the KPI dashboard. Pull your data. Define your baseline metrics. Get alignment on what you're measuring. Week 4, establish the communication rhythm. Schedule the daily stand-up, the weekly huddle, the monthly review. Do your first leadership huddle. Document the first commitments, right? By the end of 4 weeks, your business has changed fundamentally. Now, not transformed, but changed. People know who owns what. They know what matters. They know what they're committing to. They're not asking you for every decision. Work is flowing through processes instead of bottlenecking at your desk. And the difference between founder dependent and founder free isn't sophistication. It's whether someone sat down and built the basics. If you take nothing else from this, the gap between a business worth 3x EBITDA and a business worth 7 is not revenue. It's whether you've built operational independence. When you build these 5 systems, your business becomes something that doesn't need you to function. And that changes everything. Faster growth, because your team can move. Lower turnover, because people have autonomy. They enjoy coming to work. Better margins, because work flows through processes, not you. A business that's worth what you've built. If you're a founder between 2 million and 10 million and this resonated, let's get on a call. We'll walk through where your time is going and figure out what to do about it. Link is in the description below. Thanks for watching. If this hit home, drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I read every single one. I'll see you next week right here.